Okay, I am very happy that we finally have this new silk. This is not the fan vote version of silk, although it is kind of the fan vote version of silk. This was the one that came with the 2-pack, as a 2-pack with Doc Ock. I didn't need another Doc Ock. The one that we have is actually pretty cool. You can see him back there. He's actually been customized with, these are reading light things, so these are completely posable, and you can't really tell. You can see his little feeties down there. He's actually using them to stand as well because they are solid wire. You can see his feet are floating off the ground. But yeah, so that's why why would we need another Doc Ock? At least in our collection, we didn't. So we got this from somebody who didn't need the silk. Happy everybody. This silk is obviously different than this first one that we got. Can't really say this is a first appearance silk. I'll just say it's the first version of, sorry about my nails, by the way, the first version of this suit that she has. The first appearance silk actually has a suit that she makes of her own, out of her own webs, which is pretty cool. And I'm actually a little bit surprised that they haven't given us that version yet. They love to give us male characters who just appear in one appearance. I actually think she actually wears it for a few issues. But anyway, this is the issue where she has her first appearance in her Amazing Spider-Man #4 from the original Sin tie-in stuff. Well, they had so many Amazing Spider-Man starts and restarts in that time. But anyway, so I thought I would do a little comparison of the silks. Now, let's start with the original one that came out. Now, this was, I'm not sure what year this came out in, honestly, but this was obviously the first silk that they gave us. This hand, just for FYI, this is not the hand that she came with. I can't find her other hand. She just had the two, you can see the two red fingers as opposed to all red fingers. So I can't find that other hand, but so I put the other hand on her because it's better than not having a hand. But this silk caused a little bit of a disruption in the toy community because of a couple of reasons, and her price went up astronomically pretty much ASAP. And you can see on our version here, she does need a little bit of touch-ups, same as this other one. But anyway, we'll get there in a minute. First of all, for obvious, you can see we all have eyes, absolutely stunning face. Not necessarily comic accurate to what Cindy Moon looks like. Doesn't particularly look very Korean at all either, which of course Cindy Moon is Korean American, but absolutely stunning face. Cannot deny that. Maybe this would be like a good Electra head or something, but it's absolutely gorgeous. The other thing was that they gave her, if I am not mistaken, a new butt sculpt. I should grab another female figure for comparison here. Let's see. Teenage body. Here we go. Another female figure on an adult body. Whew! You can see the difference. There's an obvious difference here. And also the fact that this is Emma Frost, if I can just go on a tangent, and she has the standard size assets, we'll say. That's a sin. I'm sorry, Marvel Legends. I'm not sorry. That's a sin that you gave Emma Frost a flat butt and a flat chest. We're just gonna put that out there. But anyway, she obviously has quite the rump, and that caused a bit. You know, and I think it was a lot of, this is a new body too, and you can see there's like a lot of detail in the hip structure. I don't want to say detail, but sculpting, we'll say sculpting and hip structure. There's a couple spots here that I need to fix too now that I look at it. But obviously gorgeous figure, super comic booky, and this was the first one that they gave us. So she was like going for like $90 for a long time, just showing you the detail on the back. Feet and everything, all black, red, and gray. Okay. Beautiful. And then obviously she has her second head. She did not come, if I recall, with any accessories of note. I'm not even sure she came with spare hands, if we're being honest. But obviously beautiful figure. If you're going for something that's going to look good on your shelf, that will do you the trick. Now, if you're looking for something that is more accurate to what Cindy Moon, the Korean American superhero, would actually look like, if comic books were drawn more realistically. And honest to God, this is more what she looks like in the comics anyway. This is the figure that you want. She is really, really cool. So let's get all her little accessories and show those off for a quick second. Obviously, she has this cool web hand. I had her displayed on the shelf with this, which actually comes from Teresa Carpenter. It was a pretty cool, and that's honestly a big part of why we got the Teresa Carpenter figure, was so that I could put this on Silk, because Silk obviously has the powers where, somewhat displayed on this, they come from her fingertips, the webs, not from any kind of mechanics. And that's why she made the suit, her first appearance suit, out of her own webbing. So this looked really cool with this figure on the shelf for a while. But this new one came with a variety of hands. We got the 2 fists, one of which is obviously over here. And we have 2 grabby hands. There's my cat. And then we have 2 of these hands. The other one is obviously on her, and then this being the final piece. The last edition, whoops, dropped it. Last edition is the, I wonder where hers went. Scarf, I don't know, face mask, I guess, that she would then pull down, and I'll show that in a minute, with the other head. So she would have the unmasked head with the face mask around her neck. But let me see if I can find hers. This may take a minute. Now I can see this section on the first level has a lot of spider accessories. These little weeny bits. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong spot. But I don't see, I was looking at this earlier, I didn't see her mask, her face mask thing. So let's pop this lid back on and go for another level. Oh, it's the bottom level, my bad. Bottom level, this has got a lot of spare heads and things. Some of these aren't even Marvel Legends. It's long guns and accessories. Sometimes in Firestar. Starfire. Firestar? Firestar, yeah. I have such a hard time. I get them so mixed up because their name's Firestar. Starfire. If I picture a comic book cover, I can usually figure out which one's which pretty easily. I don't see it. Middle layer. Oh boy. Hands. Oh. Well, I found Gwen's and I think Moon Knight's and some really delectable little foods, but not Cindy's. So moving on. Back to the comparison of these two. We have 2 spare heads. Oops, there we go. The 2 spare heads, which we can compare really quick here. I think the differences are pretty clear. Interestingly, this one actually looks younger than this one, but it looks more like a Korean American Cindy Moon you would expect to look. I guess this is what they're calling the photoreal face printing, which I guess it looks pretty good. You can't really see it in the camera, but she has very nice vivid eyes. I gotta say though, they look a little bit firmly vivid, more so on the original head. They're a bit pale. They're a bit opaque looking, or sheer, I guess would be opposite of opaque. This looks more opaque. This one looks more sheer in the eyes, which is the issue that I'm having with photoreal. All of the facial features, I suppose, are a little bit less defined. More realistic, less defined. You can kind of see that in the eyebrows and the lips even too. But yeah, and it's shiny. I hate the shininess. Oh my god, so shiny. Looks so much more like Cindy Moon. So it's kind of like up to your preference there, which one is, ooh. Oh, wow, okay, so that's cool. We'll get into that in a sec. It's up to your preference there, which one is better face-wise and head-wise. That's really just your preference. If you can see there, I just took her off the stand very easily because unlike her original counterpart, she actually has that. Holes in the back. 2 holes, that's, oh god, I'm a pervert. Shit. Lost train of thought. I'm not sure if she's supposed to have the costume design on the back. that's something that would be worth looking into. But let's straighten her out here. You can already see some immediate differences in not just the color of the suit, but in the design of the figure. So I am actually going to switch out a hand with a fist. Get this shit on. Okay. I can't do it with a fist. We'll do it just with another hand because it will look more comparable to the older one. Boop. She's dancing. Look at the arms in good position. And I did take a picture of it in that beautiful pose my husband got it set up in before I took it off the stand. A little bit stiff. What am I doing wrong here? I can't quite get this arm to bend back down like the other one. It should be like this, like the other one. There we go. Okay, yeah, a little bit stiff in the joints, but that would be most likely because this is a new mold. I'm guessing top to bottom new. I still have a few critiques about it. We'll get there when we get there. So starting off with, you know, everybody's favorite thing, the price point jumped with not just the 2 packs, but the single figures. And the reason that they're saying that, I mean, there's a bunch of reasons, but one of the reasons they're saying that is because they're doing, I'm trying to straighten out the joints a little bit still, more premium. Ooh, that's rough. Let's keep it like that. More premium paints and whatnot. Jeez, that leg is a bit rough, isn't it? There we go. That looks more natural. Taking a quick little look though. If we were paying for more premium paints, would that be an issue? You see what I'm saying is the chips. Obviously my nails are way more chips, but that is a personal choice. Just pointing that out. Also looking at the shoes, it is a bit messy on the shoes as well. It just looks a little bit like the line work could be way better on the shoes. But aside from that, moving beyond the corporate shit, comparing these two. Now, not the first, but one of the obvious differences that I saw was the physical body shape and proportions, I guess you would say. Now, obviously, like I said before, the original figure is absolutely gorgeous and is like ideal comic book hero proportions. What I mean by that is, I can't get her to stand now. What I mean by that, there we go, is that she is very long-legged. And I'm gonna have to move this down probably for this put, so you can see what I'm talking about. We're just gonna do this. Very long-legged. And they're like skinny and everything like that. But yeah, this is comic book proportions. See the difference you can see the difference in the new one very clearly. The legs are thicker. They honestly, I would say, are sturdier. They are more muscular, like somebody who spends their day running, jumping, doing like gymnastics type things. Point being, this generally the body proportions, they look more human, more realistically human. And if we take her, whoops, which direction do I move? Take her and move her to the side. I do have to do a little, oops, she's gonna fall. There we go, do a little side comparison. It's not quite the same, I will say that. I think for obvious reasons, again, they were going for more realistic, wow, she really looks like she's slouching. More realistic body proportions. Again, that just goes for my theory as to why this figure skyrocketed in price so much. But if we're talking about just the like the hip shape on the front, she still has a good amount of sculpting in there. I don't think it's quite as severe as a V, you know, kind of in here, which again goes for her looking more human and less like a comic book sketch. And I just like to point out again, I'm not critiquing this figure necessarily. This is a great comic book figure. You know, minor things like poseability and such aside, which they kind of fix on this one. It really just goes down to your preference of, do you want a figure of a really hot chick in a spider suit who is dressed like Cindy Moon, or do you want a Cindy Moon silk spider figure? that's kind of what it is. Or you can say this is your silk. That's fine. I respect that, I guess. Stop falling. You're leaning on the comic and you still aren't standing. Skinny old legs. Oh, speaking of things, the feet, also a difference. Hopefully you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. I always bitch about the feet being too small. And here, if you can kind of compare them, these are both wider and a tiny bit longer. So makes it easier for her to stand. Now, as for these sculpts in the mold and everything like that I keep mentioning, she has the double jointed pinless parts, which for whatever reason they keep saying they have, and they use on so few figures. I mean, it was Firestar was one that they gave us fairly recently and really did not bother giving any of the new tech on her. Ooh, I have to check that because I'm actually not sure. Where is she? She's pinless, but she doesn't have the double jointed stuff. See, they've been talking about the double jointed pinless stuff for forever, but then why aren't they giving it to everybody? They're only giving it to some figures. Why? Why not Firestar? She's cool. No, I'm not a big fan of this head. She's cool. Or body, honestly. Anyway, Angelica deserves more. She deserves better. See what they gave her in the new X-Men comic for a suit? Oh my god, it's so ugly. The other difference, obviously, gray and white. When she joins Agents of Atlas, she has the white on her suit instead of gray, and she also has the short haircut, which is why she has this head with the short hair and not the long hair, which I do... Checks comic reference behind me. Yes, she does actually have long hair for a good amount of time in the comics before she cuts it short, which is how it's been in more recent history. Oh no! Alright. Oh wait. Oh no! So that's what she looks like with her mask down. I think she looks really good. She looks great on the shelf with the other spider figures. I'm not going to bother putting on all of her hands and things because I think we all know what action figures look like with different hands. I'm curious, I don't have an Agents of Atlas issue or a... Actually, do I have a Silk issue here? Hang on. Oh, bless you. That's my cat saying, bless you, girl. As I check the stack of comics here to my right, that is all stuff that I haven't finished. Oh, yeah! Look at that. So this is the most recent issue of Silk. It was the finale issue of, for whatever reason, they're calling it Volume 2. It's actually like Volume 4 or 5 if we're counting the stuff that came before Agents of Atlas. For some reason, I guess they're not. Also, she has long hair in this cover. But let's take a look at what her suit looks like. Moonlight Ad, very nice. In the comic itself, she's an old lady here. Let's skip to the end. Look at that. It's her and her brother. There's her at the J. Jonah. There we go. There we go. It's still just two hands. Interesting. Also, she's back to long hair in this one. I wonder why that is. Because I know she had short hair. Maybe this is specifically just the Agents of Atlas look. I feel like I can go with that as an explanation. But aside from the long hair and the tiny little hands, this is extremely comic accurate. And I feel like if I was to find a panel where you can see her face better, you could see how this actually looks more like her. This is actually, the writer. Takeshi Miyazawa, that's right. Maureen Greer wrote, I think, the last series. This one is Emily Kim. Takeshi Miyazawa, yes. Yeah, there's not really a good image of her face in this. But my point was, Takeshi Miyazawa has a very stylized art, so you can't really go for that in comparison to this anyway. Does she actually look a little bit more like this in this one? I feel like she does. That's funny. But yeah, hopefully we get another Silk series. That's a good one. It's fun. Because Cindy Moon, like most female comic characters deserves better. She's actually hasn't been like horribly manipulated too badly in the comics, and she's had a pretty good role. Again, look, I just want to say, look at she's got thick, I mean, I don't want to say thick thighs because people tend to think of, oh, she's fat. No, that's not at all what I'm saying. She has muscles on her bones is what I'm saying. And yes, I am correct. I am correct. Can I get something to point with here? This, you can see that really well in this background. If you can kind of compare the hip parts here. They gave her more hip, they gave her more butt, if that makes sense. So she kind of has like realistic hip bones and muscles where they would be. She does look like she's slouching a lot, which is kind of strange. The double joints are really nice, as you can see when I first brought her out in that awesome pose. Obviously on the knees is not anything new. I do wish they had the cut here, the boot cut, where they always give the male characters a boot cut. As my camera falls, they always give male characters a boot cut here. And that helps with posing a lot, because it makes it so that you don't have to rely on just this twistability. It makes it so you can like twist this way and also that way, you know. It does help a lot with posability in my opinion, and that's something that they just don't give, sorry, Firestar, don't give female figures, period. I mean, we're not going to get into that figure again. But yeah, I really, really enjoy, I don't have her other thing. I really, really enjoy this figure. I think the price point is still ridiculous, especially the fact that you have to buy Doc Ock to get her as well. And just for funsies, we'll see what this looks like. This works out really well too, in case you wanted to switch heads. They didn't do any of that wonky, like, oh, we're going to make the neck joint smaller on this one so that you can't switch the heads around. They didn't do any of that BS. So you can mix and match. Let's see, actually. Yeah, you can totally mix and match. And obviously the hands too, because that's just how it goes. They just fit the same hands. Much prefer the double jointed elbows and things. I wish she wasn't quite so stiff, but that's fairly fixable. Let me get the right heads and everything back on this before I wrap it up. Yeah, really, really fun figure. I'm hugely critical of Marvel Legends. In all honesty, I would say that anything remotely less effort than this is completely unacceptable for their female figures, based on the fact that they've shown they can do it, and it's obviously completely easy for them. This was minor adjustments from the original. It's an incredible improvement to what you might be looking for as a more comic booky figure, and a more accurate to what she is wearing now figure, based on the colors of the suit being white. It's preference aside, you know, if you just like this one because she's prettier, that's fine. If you just like it because she's got the big butt, that's honestly fine too. I'm not going to judge you for that. I can't get the head on this one back on. She's just going to look awkward like that for the end of the video. They look good. Honestly, let's do a Cindy Moon multiverse, Marvel. Look at them locking arms. Cindy Moon supremacy. I'm here for it.